Brothers and sisters of this world, ever so often I would come to the realization of what constitutes us and what led to our the influx of our behavior that will lead to predisposed disorders, mental illness, psychosis. For me interpersonally, it is truly mind-boggling. I I'm starting to become really addictive to that state of awareness, to that state of paying attention to who we are as people, what we are, why we think. And as that being said, the realization for me, it steals away superficiality from my nature. It adds authenticity to what I want to do and who I want to be. Almost out of my control, but at the same time with my individual activity to it. What I'm talking about essentially is something that has a nature, but at the same time it cannot be classified as a nature. It is a sense of self, a sense of becoming, a presence that's unladled. But yet, even though it has a nature, it provides a challenge to explain it, but it nudges me to still talk. It provides a challenge to explain it, but it creates the challenge for me to talk about it. It sounds paradoxical in its nature, but it feels like a truth that I cannot shake. I've noticed, and I've been watching a documentary the other day, and this documentary speak about how the chimpanzees live their life. And then whenever a chimpanzee reach its final stage in life, the elder chimpanzee will separate from the clan. He'll just get up one day and separate from the clan and go deep in the forest. When it loses itself in the forest, it it comes to a place of nothing elseness, meaning there's nothing else for the chimp to do, for the monkey to do. So it sits in a state of presence, and just let nature takes its course. That constitutes to its death, its final days. It just lays there until life leaves its body. And yet, this is exactly what has been happening to human beings. But most of us run from it. Whenever we pick up the energy of losing our ego, of giving up, providing a death to the part of us that no longer operates on this realm, we fight it, and we try to rush right back into the person who we were. And that being said, it's I can understand at the same time why people would do that. They do that because it's easy, it's familiar. They're scared to step into a place where they become something more than who they are. And with that kind of provisional way of identity, of coming back to the old self, we keep finding ourselves falling into chaos. We smoke, we will drink to numb ourselves from the pain of that change, that middle ground of that change. And what is that middle ground? It's the period by which you're switching from the known character, the known ego of who you are, the personality that display itself on the world, and that gap between you've rid yourself of your old self, but you haven't become anything of concept in your own mind yet. You're stuck in that void. And that state, all it requires is just your actionless activity. An activity that doesn't require any major doing. Just remain conscious into the space. I'm currently working on that. I'm currently allowing myself to remain in that state. Giving myself that opportunity to understand what courage is. Letting go. You know, sometimes whenever I eat, I would also watch how some musicians in the world would put out their music, the life they came from, the circumstances they were wrapped up in, and the way how they themselves would take the circumstance and turn it into an art, even violence when they sing about it. They take the circumstances of their environment and turn it into art. And then a lot of people would judge them based off of the fact that they're singing about violence, which means that they are violent. But what I've realized is their sense of artistry that they turn into a career, the proclivity to move towards doing that, is a huge transformation in and of itself. It's a massive change. It's a huge change because in order to create music around it, art, you have to objectify everything you're seeing. You have to play it out in your mind and be conscious into the situation, into your whole life situation in your own head, and turn it into rhymes and find words that join each word of that circumstance and turn it into a rhyme and add a rhythm to it. That is a heightened state of intelligence, and that's what I respect. Because it also means that you're going to be judged by a huge mass of people. People are going to view you into a certain stereotype, and that could be threatening to your own sense of self, your own personality, your own ego. Because a lot of people, when they are moving forward towards that celebrity state, they don't want to be viewed in the sense of, ugh, I'm of lower state in the world. So some of them, they strive for the bling, the beautification of that celebrity life to cover what they're trying to change. And it's almost like a mask ego in a sense. Change. It's complex and easy at the same time. It's acceptance and it's activity. Doing what you want to do, not creating an identity out of it. Striving for a massive goal, a small or a massive goal, and not finding an identity out of it. Feel the feeling of reward and not creating an identity out of it. Feeling the failure and not creating an identity out of it. Evolve. Accept the gaps. When you look at a music note, this is an example, you see the gaps between each note. Without those gaps, there won't be music. It's the same thing with your life experience. Without the gap, the void, the degradation of the quote unquote ego or the old identity, there is no rhythm to your life. If there's just always high, you get bored and then you work hard to seek the low. And when you seek the low, a lot of people turn that low into identity. And then they blame, oh, I lost my wealth because this person, that. Or they blame circumstance. I'm still learning in the process, and I'm not sitting here preaching and telling full life story on what one should absolutely do. I don't have all the facts. I'm just paying attention. And paying attention through the process of also making mistakes. I am now allowing myself to smile and also to even celebrate the falls after a mistake. Will it be hard? Of course. Will I react? I think I should. I think I would. I think I would. But whatever message I'm putting forward here, I'm putting this message forward in a serious sense because this is also a message to me. It's also a message to me. So, as we move forward, change, transcending one's state, meaning to move on from the old version of yourself. You used to like smoking. How does it feel when you let go of smoking? You will never know until you go through the act of working and accepting the urge of smoking without picking up a cigarette or whatever contraband that you smoke. Accept. It breaks you, break. Accept. Because if you break and you don't accept that breakage, you're not accepting. And you will continue to loathe into that pain. But even if you allow yourself to loathe into that pain, someday it will force you to surrender, whatever shape or form that will take. And in that sense, there's no turning back. You have to face the pang of change. It's also one of the highest levels of self-love. But in one essential respect, is not that you love yourself or hate yourself. It's also self-acceptance. The self you accept in the process of change. The self you accept in the process of unacceptability. But take your time. Again, this is a message to me too. Take your time through the process. Because that process is not a shotgun. It's not even a marathon. It's longer than that. But to make it easier for you, Don't really view it in a kind of taking a long time process. Just be. Sit with the change. The pain is over. You create no more pain as long as you accept, as long as you sit with change. Let's meditate on that together. I send energy and love to you, to all those who are there who are taking the step of change. And I also send love and energy and strength to those who haven't accepted yet. It's a cyclical thing when we accept even those who haven't accepted. But also a question, even for me, and for a lot of you, if you're willing to ask yourself the question, have I truly accepted the unacceptable version of me? Maybe you have. Maybe you haven't. But feel whatever negativity your body is giving. Maybe that's your body, your energy saying you haven't fully accepted everything. Let's dig deep together. Let's take a deep descent into who we truly are. And once we accept change, we'll see each other on the other side. Salute.